Hello friends and welcome again. My name is Behroz and I'm a finance leader. Now in this video I will talk about why is that there are certain people who are not able to cross the leadership ceiling, like they are not able to get promoted or move up in the corporate ladder, let alone their executive leadership. They are not even able to break into senior management. So what is that one reason which is causing them to stay or be left at the level where they kind of started, or have just moved 1 inch up and down and that's it, and have not been able to break the ceiling, get the promotions that they think they deserve, despite having all the experience, all the knowledge and all the skills? They are still not able to cross the ceiling. Now before I share that particular trait with you, I have one call out, which is in case you find any value from this video, I have to ask for you: one, press a like button as this keeps me motivated, and second, press the subscribe button along with the bell icon so you get notified as soon as I put new content on this channel. On this channel, I post content pertaining to financial and career success for early and mid-career professionals. Other than that, in case you want to support me in making unbiased content like this, you can do so by supporting me on patreon.com. I will leave the link to my Patreon page in the description of this video. Now let's get rolling into what is that trait that helps you break the ceiling into top leadership. That is communication. Now this might seem like a cliched answer, communication, but what I want you to do is I want you to do an exercise. Think about someone at your workplace who is a rising star or who is in top leadership. Think how they communicate and see how they communicate differently versus everyone else in the organization. And all of these people in the top leadership positions, or who are the rising stars, who are moving faster in the organization, the one trait that they have where they exceed everyone else is communication. Think of the last time when you communicated with them, how they were actively listening to you and how they were communicating with you in very concise, simple, articulate way. Like you could understand what they're saying in very simple ways. They were not rambling. They had very simple communication coming in very bullet format, one after the other. There was a thread to their communication. There was no emotional outburst. There was a thread. They started from one place to the other. Remember the last time they were explaining you some work that had to be done. Let's say it's your manager and they wanted you to deliver some work, and they were explaining you how to go about that work, how simple and clear they were. Assuming that's the manager who is the rising star, the clarity of thought, the clarity of explanation they had. So the answer is communication. Anyone you see rising the ranks and the ladder in the corporate organizations is because of their superior communication. It is not their experience. They might have less experience than someone who's been in the company for very, very, very long. They can come in from somewhere else, someplace outside as a lateral hire, and can become your manager or manager's manager. Why this happens? It's not because they have the experience. Maybe you have the experience who's been in the role for so long, but they have superior communication. It's not the skills. Rather, they don't have the skills. Usually people who are at the lower level have the core skills because they are the ones who are executing stuff, who are delivering stuff. These guys in top management do not deliver anything. They just communicate. That's all. So for you to be at the top leadership, you need to communicate well, communicate effectively, be a champion in communication. The next is they're not even knowledgeable. Rather, they don't need to be knowledgeable. They want to make sure that they hire people or surround themselves with people who have the knowledge. But they are the ones who communicate better. So all they need to do is know where to go to in order to get an answer. They don't need to know all the answers. They just need to know where to get the answer from. And again, that comes through effective communication, because effective communication helps you build relationships with people who know the answer. You bring them along with you, you surround yourself with those people who have the answers, and all you need to do is communicate with them and then communicate with your management. That's it. So it is communication. Now, all that I'm talking about is you growing in the organization. Now, let's say you want to go out of the organization. You say, okay, I don't see any growth in this organization. I'm not able to break the ceiling. You know what? I'll start taking jumps and I'll start switching and move across the organizations. But guess what? How do you switch? You give an interview. In an interview, you do not share your skills. Like, your skills are there on the resume, but you do not demonstrate your skills. No one will open SAP for you or any other tool and say, please tell me how you should go about solving this particular challenge on a particular system or a particular skill that you have, which is kind of a hard or technical skill. They will not question you on that. They might question you on that, but you won't be required to demonstrate it. The skill that would be demonstrated the most in an interview is communication, because you have to communicate about what you know, what you can deliver, and the experiences you have. But you can make up all of that. But what you can't make up is communication, because that you have to deliver. You have to deliver in the interview how you go about communicating. So you really need to ace communication, even if it's not about you growing within the organization you are, rather you thinking of switching across different organizations. Now let me quickly share some pointers as to why communication is so powerful. One, you can drive influence. So who drives influence? It is the top leadership. They influence people who are above them, and they influence people who are below them. So for below people who are in your team, you have to drive the vision. You have to influence them. You have to convince them on the vision and make them rally across the vision and then get to the work. For the top management, again, you have to influence decision making. So whatever decision they're taking, you influence that decision by saying, no, this is the right way of doing it as against this. But how do you do it? By communicating. That's all. How simple, concise, and clear you are in terms of what you want to drive. And if you can communicate that particular point to the top management, you can influence decision making. Second is increase visibility and recognition. This comes through you being able to articulate complex problems. There's a difficult problem that has happened, but the guy at the top management, it is very difficult for them to understand everything. Let's say the GM of the organization or the country, he or she is not an engineer. So there's an engineering problem, or there's a finance problem, or a marketing problem, or sales problem. Those guys are very generalist. They don't have those expertise per se, because they have not been into those roles for a very long time. They kept moving across the organization, and now they're the general manager. So what you need to do is, when you bring a problem to them, it's a complex problem. It's a complex finance problem, complex engineering problem, but you make it very simple for them. I call this a grandma rule. Take a complex problem, and if you can explain it to your grandma, that means you have done good. So you explain it to them in a very concise, simple way, and that is where you will be able to create influence and be recognized for your work. Like, they will understand you. Once they understand you, they'll go like, okay, I understand this guy, and I recognize that this guy is doing good work. Similarly, effective communication will help you stand out in meetings, in presentations. And guess what? Who gets promoted in the organization? People who stand out, people who are impressive. How do you get impressive, or how do you become impressive? Is just by being able to communicate effectively, communicate with confidence. This is exactly how you gain recognition. Also, it is through communication that you are able to talk the big picture, the big idea, as against just being in the weeds. When you have effective communication, you exactly know who do you need to communicate with and in what manner. If it's top management, you're very concise. There are very limited details you share, and you share the big picture. When it's the lower management, you share more details because you need to get things done from them. Again, it's not the person who has the best idea. It's the person who can communicate the best idea is the one who will get the promotion and who will get the recognition. Now, next is enhanced problem solving and decision making. Again, it's through communication that you will be able to persuade people and also drive consensus for them to agree with you. How will you make someone agree with you? It's just when you are able to communicate with them in a very effective way. Similarly, you get better negotiation and conflict management skills. Again, you are an active listener, so you listen to people, you understand what they're saying, and only then you communicate with them exactly what they want to hear and how they want to hear, or in the manner they want to hear. So even if the message is different, but it's in the manner they want to hear and understand, and that's how they understand. If you're able to do that, then you are a better negotiator and a better conflict manager. Last but not the least, you will be able to project confidence when you're speaking up in the meetings, when you're presenting and you're communicating, and when you're talking to the leadership. If you're doing it in a very effective way in terms of your communication, you will be seen as someone who's competent, who's inspiring, who has charisma. All of this is just because you are able to communicate well. If you communicate well, you'll drive or build that confidence and that aura around you, and that will take you places, my friend. Hopefully this video was helpful. In case you found this video helpful, I'm sure you'll find another video very useful on my channel where I talk about how you can stand out in a meeting. You can check it out here. Other than that, there is another video where I talk about how you can go about improving your communication. You can check it out here. Thank you.